Right now, it is 7:07 a.m. Pacific time on March 13th of 2024. In this video, I want to talk about something that happened exactly 4 years ago to this very minute. Four years ago to this exact day, well, this is Wednesday, March 13th of 2024. March 13th of 2020 was a Friday. That's right, Friday the 13th. And at 7:07 a.m. Pacific time, I realized that things were changing. In fact, things were never going to be the same. Now, I'm not saying that to be overly dramatic. This video is about some of the lessons learned over the past 4 years as a human, as a business person, as an entrepreneur, as a professional speaker. There's something for everyone here. But at 7:07 a.m. on March 13th of 2020, I watched the calendar change. And it didn't change for the better. Dates, blocks of speaking events were disappearing en masse. My assistant in Connecticut was experiencing the same thing. Things are just going away. People were canceling events, saying, whatever you do, don't get on that plane. We're not going to be here. We have to, and they said it this way, we have to work from home. Welcome to this video. My name is Eric Herdman. I'm a professional speaker, and today I'd like to share with you some lessons learned over the past 4 years. One of the things that changed that day is, of course, how I deliver a speech, how I do a seminar or a webinar now. And one of the things that happened on that particular day is I didn't know what to do. I had used Zoom to connect and have a pre-event call, to have meetings, but never had done a presentation on there. Adobe Connect, Microsoft Teams, WebEx, pretty much all the same. And what were we going to do? Well, over the next few weeks and eventually months, and of course now years, this has evolved into a studio, a complete studio, green screen and microphones and 5 cameras, and of course you can see all of sometimes the bells and whistles in the videos. I mean, we even have sound effects for the knowledge bombs that are dropped in my sessions, like that. But that wasn't how it started. It started with this was a home office, and it started with a desk over in that corner, and I had a desk lamp and a window. That was my lighting. I was using the camera in the laptop, absolutely horrible, using the microphone in the laptop, absolutely horrible. And I realized that at a time when business was going away, and I wasn't sure if it was going to come back or how it was going to come back, I spent a lot of money, invested a lot of money at the time on a gamble, kind of a roll of the dice, as they say, on that this would be a thing. Yet here we are. In just about 45 minutes from now, I will start virtual event 891. That's right. I have done 891 paid, full fee paid virtual speaking events since March 13th of 2020. If you would have told me 4 years ago at this exact moment, hey, in 4 years from now, you'll be at almost 900 speaking events, virtually paid speaking events, I would have scoffed. I would have laughed in your face. I might have even fallen on the floor, which I don't do too much, and had a big old belly laugh, because that at the time seemed ridiculous. Yet the advice I got from a variety of individuals, and I had no secret insider info. I don't think any of us did. I had no crystal ball. My crystal ball is very, it's tarnished and, it just doesn't work. But I had advice that said, invest, pursue this. This virtual training, keynote platform thing, that's kind of what we called it at the time, is going to be a thing, and you need to, they were saying that to me, you need to make it sustainable. You need to make it something you can do. And then they also said, And you spare no expense when you do a in-person event, right? You ask for the best quality equipment that the client can provide and that sort of thing. I said, absolutely. Then you need to do the same thing virtually. And so that's what I've done. In the beginning, it was tough because, well, even webcams, even crappy webcams were not really available, let alone figuring out how to do all of this, the production software, and a big shout out to Ecamm for their software and their guidance in the very beginning. I couldn't have done it without their support, their tech support, even talking to Glenn, one of the owners, a couple times. And that's just something you don't find a lot of in today's world. So again, a big shout out to those folks at Ecamm. I have nothing to gain by mentioning that other than just, well, nothing to gain, but to give away a lot of gratitude because of the time when I was struggling, languishing, having sometimes a pity party, a woe is me pity party. I was lifted up by support and by the right people. And speaking of another thing that I did that was counterintuitive at the time, just like investing in multiple computers and cameras and things I didn't even know how to operate or set up, is my assistant, Gail. Shortly after 7 a.m. on March 13th of 2020, I was taking a walk. I needed to clear my head, which is something that also has evolved over the past 4 years. And if you'd like, just let me know in the comments below. I can do a couple videos on how I use specific walks, more than even the videos I've put out already. We can take a deeper dive into some of those. But I was taking a walk, and the purpose of that walk was to clear my head. Gail called me on that walk and said, hey, with all that's going on, I understand right now there's a lot of uncertainty. If you want to suspend, if you want to, not have me as an expense, that would be okay. I understand. And I paused just like that. And I thought very hard. And I thought about what I'd already been processing over a few hours of cancellations and business going away and thinking about how I was going to do this virtual thing. And I thought, saying yes, maybe we should take a pause. Maybe we should see how things go, and then down the road in a couple months, see if we can reestablish your services and your help and your support. I said no. Gail, I think that's the last thing I need to do. I should do right now. I have no idea what I'm doing or how I'm going to do it, but we need to get business back, and it is a we situation. Now, I could tell you more about how amazing Gail is and how much she supports me and this business and supports you, my clients. Even those of you watching this video, she has a hand. Well, I don't know. Sometimes it seems like Gail's got 16 hands because she can do so much and so much amazing things. But this video is not about Gail, and Gail does not want a video to be about her. But I have to tell you that I've never been so impressed with an individual and a decision that I made about an individual, because she has been amazing over the past 4 years. So much so that, let me just say that we have decided that her title doesn't need to be an assistant or a virtual assistant. Doesn't represent what Gail does. She's my chief of staff. She is the chief of staff at Eric Herdman LLC, not my chief of staff. Anybody that has anything to do with us, Gail's the chief of staff. And we share some decision making and collaboration, and I go to her and seek counsel. So that is something that I don't think, in fact, it wouldn't have happened if we didn't have this opportunity to come together and have to build this together. So again, just a couple moments of recap here. I took a risk and invested in equipment that I probably, at the time, people looked at me like, why don't you just save that money and hang on to it until you see what's going on? I took a gamble, just like an entrepreneur would. And I invested in the development of the business because we did not have any virtual business at the time. And I say we because my chief of staff was key, central, and paramount to not only getting that done, making that happen, and still to this day, 4 years later, making it happen. And then there was one other thing. I had to say yes to everything. Yes, there are videos on this very channel about me saying no. And that tends to be a little bit more of how it goes now because of the volume, the business, the topics, the content has been developed. I can't say yes to everything. But in the early days, I got very good advice from a couple of very close friends of mine. And they said, whatever you do, just say yes to everything. And again, of course, within reason, right? Don't be a jack of all trades and a master of none. Don't start doing business writing. If any of you know, you don't want me teaching or presenting on business writing. But in things that are in your wheelhouse, say yes. Yes to everything. That means if you have to get up early and stay up late and you have to do 4 speaking events, and if whatever it is, say yes to it. Because if you're going to invest in the equipment and in this being a thing, and you're going to invest in a staff and develop a team of people to support you and to help you develop your business, then you better say yes to everything that you can. And I'm so thankful for that as I sit here and I look at the clock, and I know I have to wrap this video up because I have to log in and do sound checks with the client that I mentioned I'm doing event number 891 with. I just want to let you know that sometimes things that seem counterintuitive are that is the way to go. And at times when we're scared and emotions are riding high, and again, fear and anxiety are some of the things we experienced in March of 2020, being able to regulate those, being able to take a walk and clear your head, being able to talk with folks and run things by them and get different perspectives and different pieces of advice. These are all things that I encourage my audience to do in a variety of topics. So yes, I am kind of saying I do try to practice what I preach. But sometimes, even with all that, you still have to kind of jump into the deep end, as they say. And that's what the latter part of March 2020 and April and May of 2020 felt like, is that I was just every day jumping off into the deep end, hoping that my swimming skills would help me. Hopefully, I surrounded myself with the right equipment and the right people and made the right decision in saying yes to almost everything, and that I was going to swim. And not just survive, but because I didn't want to survive. I've never had any of my businesses or anything I've done just to be survive, not even surthrival, but I wanted to thrive. I wanted to excel. And so that's what today's about. Today's about encouraging you to make sure that when you're faced with adversity, you really explore it. And don't lean in too quick and don't shut down too quick, but to make those calculated, methodical, intentional, yes, and sometimes risky, sometimes rolling the dice moves. Because with that, we have those thoughts sometimes. We have those thoughts like, what if this goes horribly wrong? But also make sure you explore the thought of, what if this goes just absolutely amazing? Better than we could have even thought of. So thanks for watching. And as always, make sure you take care of yourself so you can take care of each other. And I'll see you again real soon.